Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om. On the auspicious occasion of the recitation of Lakshmi Shobhane worldwide, it is indeed my pleasure to be participating in this Maha Gnana Yagna and share some of the perspectives about Sri VadirAja. Sri VadirAja is a guru of exemplary qualities, but the importance of anyone, be it a guru, be it a teacher, be it a philosopher, be it a doctor, be it an engineer or anyone for that matter, will be understood only when we understand the nature of the work that they did and what would the world have been without their contribution. Unfortunately, our mind does not grasp something which is very obvious to us sometimes, and that is where the role of a great guru like Sri VadirAja actually comes into picture. So why should one know about any guru for that matter? And the reason for that is very simple. The importance of guru is understood when we understand what is the biggest thing that we can gain from a guru or a teacher. The biggest thing that we can gain from a guru or a teacher is knowledge. And why is knowledge so important? And that has got a connection to some of a very, very fundamental human emotion of happiness, or ananda as we call it. No matter what we do in life, we are always pursuing ananda or happiness. Everybody, be it a small child crying to ask its mother to feed him or her, is crying for what? So that the mother comes and feeds the child, and the child therefore becomes happy. So everything that we did from the childhood all the way up to our teenage, our youth, our middle age, our old age, everything is driven in one way or the other towards getting happiness. Why does a doctor become a doctor? Because he finds happiness in treating a patient of the illness. Similarly, engineer loves the challenge of having to build something, and he believes he's going to be happy because of building that particular construct. It could be a building in the form of if he's a civil engineer, it could be a software program, and so on and so forth. So ultimately, all of us are seeking that basic trait of being happy. So what's the connection between happiness and knowledge? It is the same thing as what food is to our body. If somebody does not eat for some time, his body feels hunger, and over a period of time it becomes weak. Similarly, our soul becomes weak when it is not given the food that is prescribed for the soul. And the food for the soul is nothing but knowledge. So if we want to make our soul feel the happiness, it comes only because of gaining knowledge. And it is our common understanding. Suppose you're solving a riddle. Let us say you've woken up in the morning, you take the newspaper and you are able to solve the crossword. You feel happy because it is something that you have pursued because of your knowledge. Similarly, somebody watches a movie and feels very happy. Why? Because there is a certain knowledge, there is a certain input that has come from that movie which is making him happy. But just imagine, so what is wrong with seeking happiness through reading a novel or watching a movie, etc.? That has got its own limitation about how much of happiness that it can give you. Knowledge in this world is of several types, and every knowledge is respectable. But clearly, the most respectable knowledge in this world is spiritual knowledge. The knowledge about the divine being, which is God, the different devatas and gods who are next to the supreme God, the relationship that we have with that God, the relationship we have with His creation, and understanding of all this through our scriptures gives us the ultimate happiness. Where do we see this? We see this in our illustrious gurus. Sri VadirAja comes in that great lineage of gurus who gave us happiness. Starting from Sri Vedavyasa himself, who is the incarnation of Lord Narayana, to Sri Madhvacharya, who is the incarnation of Sri Vayu, and who was given the orders by Narayana himself to preach Yathartha Gnana, or the knowledge which is the right knowledge, which is the righteous knowledge. And he came into this world as Sri Madhvacharya, and what did he give? It's very evident in his name, which is Srimad Ananda Theertha. And in that lineage came great gurus like Sri Theertha, Sri VadirAja, and in that lineage comes Sri VadirAja himself, one of the most illustrious gurus who ever trod this world. So what is VadirAja? What is unique about VadirAja? In this 7-part series, we will learn different aspects about Sri VadirAja's life and works. But typically all discourses, all discussions start with somebody's life. But the perspective here is slightly different. Let us first try to understand Sri VadirAja's works, what he stood for, and then go to looking at those aspects of his life which make him truly unique. Sri VadirAja was a guru who came in that rich lineage that we just discussed. So before him, the Madhva Mata had got established by Sri Madhvacharya in the 12th and the 13th centuries. It was further reinforced by Sri Theertha, Sri VadirAja, and other illustrious gurus. And in that, each stage and each century and each era saw different people coming from conflicting philosophies challenging the works of these gurus, and the subsequent gurus responded to these objections and re-established the supremacy of Dvaita Mata. So if you look at the test of a guru, which brings us to the next question. We have used the word guru, but what does guru himself mean? The word guru, of course, like many other words in Sanskrit, has many meanings. One of the meanings is guru means someone who destroys happiness. Someone who destroys darkness. My apologies. Guru is someone who destroys darkness in one's lives. So what does destroying darkness mean? How do you destroy darkness? It is very simple. Just get light into somebody's life. Just imagine you are in a big hall and it is totally dark. What do? You immediately light a small candle and the whole hall then becomes absolutely bright. So just the way a small candle or a small lamp can actually spread light and kill the darkness, Sri VadirAja was not just a light, but he was like the sun god himself, who completely destroyed the darkness in everybody's lives by propagating knowledge. The other meaning of guru is someone who gives knowledge. Someone who should not have doubts about philosophy itself. If he himself is not clear about what is the right knowledge, how will he give it? Just imagine there's a teacher who's come into a classroom and he's not clear about the subject. Will he be able to convince his disciples about it? Definitely not. So a guru is someone who destroys the darkness in everybody's life by giving them knowledge through his knowledge, understanding, which is free of any doubts. The other meaning of guru is somebody who is very big. So in the amongst the 9 planets, Guru is the largest planet. What does this mean? Something that is big is called Guru. So in one's life, the spiritual stature of a teacher is very, very high. No matter what a person achieves in his life, he will always be very thankful, and he should be thankful to his teachers who taught him everything from a nursery rhyme when he joined school all the way up to someone who probably helped him with uh, his post-graduation or post-doctoral studies. He is a guru. So these are some of the definitions of guru that we see ordinarily, but there are more layers to it. A guru is someone who takes us in the path of God. The spiritual guru is someone who guides us towards God. So anybody who is trying to distract us from this righteous path is not a guru. So that's the other definition, other test that we should use to decide whether somebody is a guru or not. And lastly, a guru is someone who is not seeking anything from us, but on the contrary is giving us. And what does he give us? He gives us knowledge. He gives tattva jnana, which is the highest. So once he is able to give knowledge, he has given us the most important thing, and without expecting anything in return. So that is the definition of guru. So Sri VadirAja, does he fit into that definition? I think that is a topic that we will examine in great detail in the next few parts. But here are a few aspects about what makes Sri VadirAja truly unique. If you just look at his abilities as someone who has authored some of the greatest texts. If you look at the philosophical gurus, there are many people who have commented on several aspects of our Indian scriptures. But if you look at the works of Sri VadirAja, he has commented and he has written very elaborate texts on many aspects of Srimanta philosophy. He has covered the Brahma Sutras, he has covered Gitas, he has covered Puranas and Upanishads, and very importantly, he has given us hundreds of very important shlokas or stotras or prayers to God. Today it has become almost synonymous with Sri VadirAja himself. So any shloka is almost, you can say, that is blindly attributed to VadirAja just because of his colossal collection of great stotras of different gods in the Hindu philosophy that we see. So if you just look at his works, they pan across virtually every aspect of the Indian philosophy. It's very rare to find someone with that kind of an expansive understanding of the Indian philosophy to write texts which are quoted by every single great philosopher in India after him. And very importantly, what shows his immense kindness is that he has not limited himself to just writing text in Sanskrit, which then becomes accessible only to people who understand Sanskrit language, who could be profound scholars. But he wanted to give it to everybody who's interested to pursue the path of God. So he, in his immense kindness, has created a number of kritis in Kannada as well as Tudu, the languages which are used in south of India. So if you just look at in the great lineage of gurus who came in the Madhva philosophy, he stands fairly unique along with people like Sri Theertha, Vyasarajaru, Sri Sripadarajaru, and later on Sri Raghavendra Swamigalu, who came and who not only gave us fantastic and in-depth Sanskrit texts, but also gave us a number of very interesting and very simple to understand songs in Kannada, which actually reflected the Madhva philosophy in its entirety. So when we look at the subsequent parts of this series, which will follow this, we will look at all these aspects and his life itself. What is unique about his life? We will examine that. But at this stage, suffice it to say that there are some people whose life, as they say, is exclamation, whereas unfortunately there are many people whose life is an explanation. Right from the time that he was born, the way he was born, the history behind and before his birth of his parents, the unique event that happened at the time of his birth, his accepting the sannyasa diksha from his guru, his travel across the country, the Bharatakanda, and documenting it in probably the world's first travelogue in Sanskrit, bringing the spiritual significance of travel in Theertha Prabandha, and subsequent events in his life which showed his unique abilities to invoke God to help people, all the way up to his Vrindavana Pravesha, which he entered when he was alive. So like Sri Raghavendra Swamiji, Sri VadirAja also entered his Vrindavana when he was alive, what we call as Sasharira Vrindavana Pravesha. And every part of his life is very, very unique. His lifespan was for 120 years, which itself is unique. But to live for 120 years, out of which 112 years as a sannyasi and later on as a Pitadipati, and live life to its fullest in the service of God and His creation, which is the people, and to help people climb up the spiritual ladder is no mean task. So once again, I would like to thank Sri Sode Swamiji and all the organizers of the Lakshmi Shobhana, a global knowledge summit, and I'm glad to be part of this. This is just the beginning of a 7-part series that will be broadcast over a period of time, where we'll try and cover all aspects of Sri VadirAja's life and works. Thank you once again for watching this, and stay tuned for the subsequent episodes. Shri Krishna Arpanamastu.